everyone, and welcome to the third episode of RPA Episodes by Chasey Partners. My name is Jim Jameson. I'm the RPA Delivery Manager for Chasey Partners. Joining me today is Chuy Michelle, our Global Head for RPA. And you might notice that we're wearing our jerseys today. If you tuned into the last episode, we had started to do that episode with our jerseys, but Chuy forgot. So today, instead of my Phoenix Suns, who, by the way, are tied with the Milwaukee Bucks for the NBA championship, today I'm wearing my Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl championship jersey. And Chuy, you are wearing
my Chivas jersey. This is a soccer team. In reality, it's only the States that is called soccer. The rest of the world is actually football. Right?
That's right.
And I don't have the privilege of wearing a championship one. It's been 3 years in the last time we won, but you never know. Our season starts next month, so hopefully, crossing my fingers, this is their time again.
Yep. And so for our football teams going into training camp here real soon, so you never know. Maybe the Chiefs will get back to the Super Bowl for the third time in a row. Last year did not end the way we wanted, but it is what it is, right? Sports, it's all good fun. But anyway, our purpose today is not really to talk about sports. We're having a little fun with this. Hopefully you've enjoyed the last couple episodes. Our subject for today is managed services, and I'll turn it over to Chuy just to kind of let him give you some of our ideas about the pillars that we use, and then we'll move into a managed services discussion. Take it away, Chuy.
Thank you, Jim. And as we said before, RPA, it's end-to-end lifecycle management, end-to-end RPA implementation, which starts from a process perspective with the right discovery approach. So you can come up with an automation strategy, a proper business case, and from there, start growing your program. Proof of concepts and pilots, we talked about it. Super important you consider this. If you're growing and scaling, don't forget about your center of excellence. Designing and implemented center of excellence are critical so you can scale with control. Don't forget about agile development. It's important to apply agile methodologies to RPA development. And last but not least, remember, once the bots are in production, they are going to need help. Bots break. You need to support them. You need to provide maintenance to them and monitor them. And that's why we're here today, isn't it, Jim?
That's right. That's a great segue. And really one of the things that I want to bring out just in our discussion is, why do bots break? Right? If nothing changes, and I'm going to go back to some of my old change management days, right? Something changed for applications, things to break, right? And from a bot perspective, typically, it's all related to the environment or the underlying applications that an automation is built on, right? Selectors change, access changes. I've even had experience where the Excel version changed, and how that bot was manipulating Excel caused it to break. So, it can be a number of things, whether it be applications on their desktop, in the cloud. However, the environment is designed when the bot is built is the way it needs to function. And I think that leads us into, okay, so what do we do when bots do break, right? What has been your experience as far as managing an environment or managing bots, supporting bots?
Yeah, it is important that you have a dedicated team, Jim, right? Just throwing developers to monitor bots, it's not the right thing to do, right? You need to have a dedicated team that is not going to only look at, the execution of the bots, the execution of the processes, but also being able to identify and proactively, right, potential problems. And when bots do fail, being able to quickly react and jump into the problem. And there are times, by the way, when you're going to need to reach back to the developer who created the bot. But if you do a proper transition between development to controlling, monitoring the bots, you should be able to have a team of experts, right? A team of experts. It is important to say, right, that sometimes you're going to need 24/7. It depends on your SLAs, right? So what has been, like, in your experience, Jim, the right approach to set up the right SLAs so it is clear what the expectation is, and there's kind of, this correct approach to monitoring and maintaining bots in production?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. You need to develop an SLA, and usually an SLA is based upon the criticality of the application, and in this case, the bot. It should have the same rigor, right, as any other application within a corporation or a company. If a critical application breaks today, then usually you have a technical call. People are involved, calling out to the developers, support teams, whatever it might be, to find out, okay, what's changed? Why are we having this issue? Same can be said for bots. Now, you need to determine how critical the bot is and build your SLA around it, right? And some of that is going to be whether or not you have an in-house monitoring or maintenance team, or whether you outsource that, right? Because maybe you don't have all the technical expertise to actually fix things. That's the one good thing about Chasey Partners is we kind of offer both a monitoring and a maintenance, and then of course a combination of the two. But there's a lot of things that go into that. Not only creating the SLA, but as you kind of alluded to before, from a development standpoint, you want your developers to be able to continue developing, and to use developers for your maintenance can create burnout very, very quickly if you have a lot of bots in production. And you need to staff accordingly, whether it be monitoring or maintenance. You need to be able to staff accordingly. What, in your experience, what is the right number of bots that a maintenance person can manage on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, and that's a good point, right? We're actually, I'm going to share that we have a number of maintenance contracts around the world, but I'm going to refer to one particular that we have because it's 24/7, right? And in reality, you need to split monitoring, because monitoring is a daily activity performed by an individual at the bot level. But then you have what if something breaks, right? And in most of the times, Jim, when bots fail, the fixes are very simple. We haven't found lots of cases. Of course, there are exceptions, but majority of the issues with the bots, you mentioned that, it's selectors. And that's very quickly to fix, right? So you're going to need someone that is on your daily monitoring, but it's also going to be able to respond quickly when something simple breaks, right? It's your basic troubleshooting, even relaunching the bot. So normally an individual, right, an FTE should be able to provide support of monitoring and maintenance to anywhere between 10 to 15 bots.
Okay, that's a good easy number, right?
Yeah.
And if you have that many monitoring, obviously you don't want to take some of your key developers and have them also do the monitoring piece. So would you say that the monitoring is better left to junior type of developers, or how do you see that?
It's yes. You want your junior individuals in the team to learn more about the technology by looking at it from a monitoring perspective and troubleshooting basic things. Even creates a virtuous career path. So you enter the company, right, or you enter an organization, keeping the bots in control in production. Then once you start learning, you can jump into a junior developer, right? And you create some sort of even a succession plan within your end-to-end RPA team. Sometimes you decide that, I don't want to do maintenance and support and monitoring, right? And you select a third party to do that as well.
Right. And I will just going from my own experience, right? When things break is usually when you learn the most. right? Early on in my career, I used to work a night shift. And so at night shift, all your batch processes are running. And when things break, that's when you really do most of your learning and understanding about your environment, your systems, your applications. So I can completely understand about a more junior person being in charge of monitoring and then learning and working their way up. I think the big key is really about defining the criticality of each bot. I don't know, I've said that before, but really getting an SLA for the bot and knowing how to respond to certain situations. The other thing I want to touch on briefly is a lot of companies have a very stringent change management policy, right? And they may have when I say change management, I'm talking about technical change management, not or IT change management, not organizational. And the point is that I think we can sometimes get too confined around those processes when it comes to bot fixes, right? Because as you said, a selector can change, and we both know that that's a very minor fix. You don't want to get caught up too much on simple fixes. And as far as that goes, the rollout of a bot to production, anytime it's constrained too much, it makes it much more difficult, not only to maintain, but actually to roll out in production. So the thing here is to understand what RPA is, what it does, right? And knowing that you may have to take maybe a slightly different approach to your incident and your change management processes. In fact,
that's a very good point. That's a super good point. Reality, right? Because RPA is different to other technologies.
Right.
And if you create a big, thick layer of maintenance and support from a traditional team and put it on the top of RPA, most likely you are going to hurt your RPA program rather than helping your RPA program.
Well, it really prevents being able to be real agile, which is what we take pride in our development and our rollout, right? As far as having an agile process, always working with the business users in all aspects, just to make sure that obviously we're building something that and it's working, functioning as it was intended. So I think that's a good point that maybe some corporations probably fail on. They want to put everything into one particular square hole, right? A round peg in a square hole, and it just doesn't fit sometimes. So you need to be able to constantly be flexible and update some of your existing processes to also accommodate RPA. Now, from an incident perspective, most companies, mid to large corporations have some type of help desk, right? Service desk. So your first line of defense is usually your level 1 support, maybe some automated monitoring, right? Having some type of basic understanding of maintenance and knowing when to really call out, or whether it's something that maybe someone in your pod or your NOC has the ability to fix and go forward and then document what changes were made afterwards. The point is that whenever you have a service desk or a help desk and you have a managed plan in place, you really need to be able to have, how do I get a hold of someone, right? So you have to have an intake method, whether it be email, whether it be phone, whether it be some type of web ticket or ticketing system, and then having the criticality of the bot defined so that how fast teams have to get rolling and understanding what the downstream impacts of your automation, not unlike any other technology. Would there be anything else you would add to that?
Well, I think there are a couple of things. Just adding to your comment, business intelligence and business analytics as a layer on the top of your maintenance and support program is critical to success. You won't be able to succeed without measuring and tracking from a metrics perspective how your bots are operating in production. And then another critical success factor, Jim, in my experience, has been the fact that when you're transitioning from development into production, and somebody else is going to take care of the bots in production, there needs to be a very tight transition management process where your maintenance and support team needs to understand all the exceptions and rules built in the bot in order to be sure that it's clearly documented the A, B, and C of what to do when something breaks. So that transition management is extremely important from your development team into your support and maintenance team. And the only way, right? The only way to do that correctly, it's by understanding what's easy to maintain and support versus what's complex to maintain and support. You mentioned criticality as well, but the point being here, it's complexity matters. If a bot is too complex in the way it was built, naturally, once it's in production, it's going to be harder and more complex to support,
right,
and troubleshoot.
Right. And quite honestly, that's some of the things that we've seen is and come in to help correct, and that is bots that had too much, and you can break a complex bot into smaller bots, right, to make that easier to manage.
Correct.
So I guess one of the just a final thought is when you're building out your automation and scalability of your automation journey, you really need to take into consideration maintenance and monitoring and how you're going to accomplish that, whether it's in-house or externally. These are things that you need to think about because bots do break. And when bots break, you need to be able to know what your action will be.
And as we say, Jim, right? Let the bots work for you and not the other way around.
Exactly. So I think that pretty much concludes our episode for today. We hope that you've enjoyed it. It's always fun for us to do these. And if you have any other questions, reach out to chazypartners.com. We'll be glad to get involved and help you with whatever your issues are. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.
Stay tuned for the next episode.